New CNN polls from two pivotal western states, Nevada and Arizona. David Chalian is here with me at the Magic Wall with some numbers. David.
Yeah, it just doesn't get closer, and we've been talking about this, but look at our new numbers out of Arizona and Nevada. In Arizona, among likely voters, we have Kamala Harris at 48%, Donald Trump at 47%, Harris +1. In Nevada, the complete reversal. Donald Trump at 48%, Kamala Harris at 47%, Trump +1. Note, a margin of error in these polls, 4.6%. This is well within the margin of error. Do not think +1 is a different result.
No clear leader.
Exactly. This is a very close contest. What's behind some of this? Let's look at Latino voters. These are the two battleground states with the greatest concentration of Latino voters. In Arizona, you see that Kamala Harris is winning in our poll Latino voters by 18 percentage points, 56% to 38%. But look at Nevada. Totally different story of Latino voters in the Silver State. They're basically tied 48-47 among Latino voters. And I want you to just compare it. Now, listen, I'm always a little dubious of this. We're talking about a poll here, and we're talking about actual exit polls here. These are two different things.
This is a sample of people who say they're going to vote. That is people who actually voted.
Correct. And so Harris, as I said, had an 18-point advantage with Latinos. Biden in the 2020 exit polls, he had a 24-point advantage over Trump 4 years ago among Latinos in Arizona. Harris is +1 with Latinos in Nevada in our poll, but according to the 2020 exit polls, Biden won them by 26 percentage points. If that actually is what emerges on Election Day, that's a big warning sign in Nevada for the Harris campaign. And I will just note here, we are seeing the gender gap again. It's more extreme to both ends in Arizona. Harris winning women by 16 points, Trump men by 14 points in Arizona. Women are going for Harris by 5 points in Nevada, Trump getting men by 7 points. You see a sort of equal distance from the middle, but much greater on both ends in Arizona.
One of the many things that you are so good at explaining to us and to our viewers is what's behind some of these top line numbers.
Yeah, so I'm looking at a few things. There are other things on the ballot. So in Arizona, you know, there's an abortion referendum. And we took a look at that, and I was looking here to see, so among likely voters overall, 60% say they support the referendum of abortion in Arizona. 93% of Democrats do so, 58% of independents. 30% of Republicans in Arizona are supporting an abortion rights amendment. And that's a potential pool and pot of voters for Kamala Harris to be talking to. But Dana, what jumped out to me about why these states are tied were the characteristics that we asked about of these candidates. Take a look here. Honest and trustworthy witness. You see Harris has a lead on that category, an upper single-digit lead. Putting country ahead of self. That's the exact argument she says she will do and that Trump does not. She's winning those, but not overwhelmingly. By 5 points in Arizona, by 2 points, she wins that category in Nevada. Cares about people like you, a really important metric to look at. Again, mid-single-digit leads. These are not blowouts of these characteristics. And the same for his strengths. Shares your vision for the U.S. Trump has a 5-point advantage in Arizona. They're tied in Nevada. Bring change the country needs. Trump has a single-digit lead in both those categories in both states. And then we asked folks, did you already vote? Because a lot of people have. I mean, we're talking more than a majority in Arizona in our poll say they already voted, and getting close to 50% in Nevada. Wow. So this is now just looking at those that say they've already voted. In Arizona, those that have already voted, 53% for Harris, 44% for Trump. In Nevada, Donald Trump is winning the early vote right now. Those that tell us they voted, 52% to 46%.
Which is a new phenomenon for Republicans who tend to culturally like to vote on Election Day.
Yeah.
Wow, there's a lot of information in here that really is telling.
Yeah.
Thanks, David.
Sure.
Now let's go out to one of these states, Las Vegas, in particular in Nevada. That's where CNN's John King is on the ground talking to crucial voters. John, what are you learning?
Well, Dana, the voters think the race is as tight as the polls say it is. I just want to show you, I have my friend with me. Chalian can't have all the fun with the Magic Wall. We are in Nevada right now, and you see how close it was in 2020. Our polls suggest we're going there again. Clark County, where I am in Las Vegas, that's almost 3/4 of the state population. 3/4 of the vote will come right from here in the Vegas and the suburbs around it. Incredibly fast growing. Yesterday, we were in Arizona. Joe Biden won that state by 10,000 votes. A lot of Republicans there are still surprised Joe Biden won that state. And there, you were just talking to David about the polling. We talked to a couple of Latino voters. One is Tamara Vargas. She's a lifelong Republican. She's voting for Donald Trump. She thinks he will win this time because of inflation and because of the immigration issue. But we also talked to Claudio Rodriguez, and listen, he thinks Kamala Harris is a smarter candidate, a more empathetic candidate, and he thinks she will eke it out.
I just see that more people are willing to talk about Trump. They're not closet Trump supporters anymore. And it's not taboo to be a Trump supporter. We really have more people that are coming out and supporting him, making it easier on us.
Kamala has it. She has it. She's honest. She's not a felon, once again. So I think it's one of the things that folks really look at, especially amongst our older Latinos. So I don't think it's something that we're too worried about.
And Dan, I just want to show you something. I'm going to bring up the magic wall again. I want to show you this shading. It's not red and blue like you usually see on election days. You're looking at county by county across the United States now. The darker the county, the higher the toll of the cost of living in the past several years. The darker the county means that the cost of living, your energy prices, your housing prices, your grocery prices have outpaced the increase in your wages. And so let's look at where we are right now. Look at how dark it is here in battleground Nevada, right? This is the headwind the vice president is facing. Joe Biden is president, but she's his vice president. See how dark these areas are? That means the cost of living has outpaced your wages. And again, in Arizona, where we were yesterday, look at Maricopa County. It's the worst of the counties there. So that's the headwind for the vice president, that no matter what she says, she's trying to say her plans would help with this. But when you travel in both of these states, and remember, in Nevada, the unemployment rate during COVID was twice the national average, right? The jobs are back, things are better, but people still feel the body bruise. So she's trying to campaign as a candidate of change. Guess what? In these states, given the last few years, people want change.
And before I let you go, John, one of the things that was the most striking to me in this new poll that we just revealed this hour is about Latino voters in the state where you are, in Nevada, that right now Harris is only up 1, and in 2020, Joe Biden won those voters by 26. Wow.
Right. Yeah, wow is right. This is our third visit out here in the last year, and we spent a lot of time on that very question. We're about to go interview some people who are plugged into the Latino community here, including a Spanish language radio station right here, one of the owners and administrators of that station. What they tell us, and they've told us on the past trips, is that is largely economics, that people just feel bruised. People have nostalgic memories of the pre-COVID Trump economy. Interest rates were lower. There were more jobs. Grocery prices were lower. And again, that's that headwind I was showing you on the map. That's what it would have been President Biden. Now it's Vice President Harris trying to fight through people here. They remember how hard COVID hit them, and they remember before that, when Trump was president, things here were booming. And some of them want to go back, and they think that's the way to do it, even though they are repulsed by Trump's toxic comments about immigrants and about Latinos. They're voting their pocketbooks, not their hearts even.
All right, thank you so much for that. Appreciate it. I am surrounded by an incredibly talented group of reporters today. The Washington Post's Josh Dawsey and Leanne Caldwell. NPR's Aisha Roscoe. Thank you so much for being here. You are a Nevada native, so I'll start with you. What's your takeaway from what you're seeing in these two very important states?
It's really fascinating that you guys' polling shows that Trump ahead 1 point in Nevada. Of course, within the margin of error. But the reason it's interesting is because Nevada was a race that they thought a couple weeks ago that Harris was actually doing much better. But I was told by sources last week that the internal polls were tightening in the state of Nevada. I was there a couple weeks ago, mostly covering the Senate race. But there is a significant amount of support and energy for Donald Trump that I wasn't necessarily expecting. But I will say that housing is continuing to be a major issue in the state of Nevada. It is something that I think really impacts the economic discussion there. But Democrats, not only at the national level, but also Nevada Democrats are confident because they say that their ground game is superb there, and they think that it will be able to eke Harris a win. But we're going to have to see. Some of these early vote numbers are also quite good for Republicans.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, that ground game in Nevada, the Harry Reid machine from back in the day.
Well, that's one question I have. Sorry to interrupt, but
Yeah.
like, I know hopefully we're not dating ourselves.
Yeah, I mean,
But Harry Reid, the late great Harry Reid, certainly had a
he
machine.
had a machine, and they've pulled it out in the past. Now, I don't know that will happen this time. We do know that it is extremely close. And so when you look at the Madison Square Garden kind of debacle where you had, the calling of Puerto Rico, like a trash dump or whatever, I think that in a very close race, if that turns off a few thousand, that could make a difference. And that's the issue for the Trump campaign right now.